Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of week 5. This week I am coming to you not from my office as usual. I am on a road trip for my summer vacation, and I'm coming to you from my parents' kitchen in the panhandle of Texas. It is extremely early in the morning, so I'm doing this while everyone is asleep. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take this opportunity to walk you through your final paper assignment. I know some of you are kind of wondering exactly how that's going to work, and I wanted to give you all of the details to make sure that you know exactly what it's about. Okay, so let me start by showing you where I'm posting the assignment sheet and where the screencast will be, in addition to being in the news feed, which is, I'm sure, where you clicked on and found this. Okay, so if you go to the Getting Started section, you click on the Getting Started section, your computer will pull it up. And what will happen then is, if you come down here, the screencast is not here yet because I'm recording it right now, but the screencast will also be attached right here. I've posted this assignment sheet here, and so if you would like to click on that and download it or print it off, feel free to do that for your convenience, but it'll always be here. It'll always be available. I'm also going to post it, as you have seen, in the announcements, so that you can access this as you need it. Okay, so let's jump to it. Let's talk about your final paper assignment. So here it is. Your final paper for our class will be an autoethnographic exploration of intrapersonal communication. And I know that this week you are being introduced to autoethnography. So if you're like, oh my gosh, what is this autoethnography thing? Don't worry. You're going to learn about that this week. You're going to focus on it next week and in week 7. So in weeks 5, 6, and 7, we're talking about autoethnography in detail. We'll be doing it in the discussions. We'll be doing it in our journals. Lots of really easily understandable and digestible material available on what this actually is. So let me walk you through very, very quickly what I'm looking for here. Okay, your final project, you'll carry out an autoethnographic exploration of your intrapersonal communication. It needs to be 5 to 10 pages, or 1,500 to 3,000 words. I just want to let you know, like, words on a title page and words on a works cited page don't count toward the word total. I'm looking for that much writing, for that much meat, for that much content. Okay, so, and if you need to go over that, feel free to go over that. In the last times I've taught this class, people really got into writing. You'll find that writing autoethnography is different than writing your traditional academic style paper, even though it is academic. So some of you might want to go over that a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. If you need to go, somewhere between 2 and 5 pages over, that's perfectly fine. So you're going to write, and all of this stuff will make sense. Autoethnographic, creative, evocative, and scholarly. That's autoethnography, and you'll learn about that this week, next week, and in week 7. Okay, so it's worth 300 points. So I want to make sure it's clear that this paper is worth 30% of your grade in the class. So it's a significant portion of the grade that you will earn in here. So you really need to make sure you're putting some time and effort and energy into this. Okay, and it'll actually, the more effort you put into it, not only will the final product be better, but also what will be better is what you pull from it. This can be a process that really helps you grow and really sends you on a productive thought journey. Okay, so really put some time and energy into it. It's 300 points, and it's due Sunday, August the 6th by 11:30 p.m. That is technically like the day before our last day of class. I think the technical last day of class is Monday, August the 7th. So feel free to turn it in up until that point. I do want to remind you that if it is late, late papers are assessed at 1 letter grade per hour it's late. There's a reason for that. If everybody turns in a 10-page paper, I've got 200 plus pages to read in 4 days. And not just read but grade. And so I want to engage your autoethnographies genuinely. I don't want to skim them. I want to read them. Okay, so make sure you turn that in. I've got to start grading them immediately to get everything finished. So here's all the breakdown. Okay, look and feel and flow of the paper is completely up to you. You'll understand what that means. You've got to have story, plot, character, setting. You've got to have scholarly or academic resources. You need to use citations, reference our lectures, reference the PowerPoints, reference the book Mindset we've been reading all semester, the discussions and outside research. In fact, specifically, I'm looking for 5 sources in your paper, okay? Make sure you use 5 sources. 2 of them need to be outside research. Everyone is going to be writing about different things, and so look for 2 outside sources, okay? I'm not picky about what types of sources those are, but I am looking for 2 outside sources. And make sure you have the scholarly and academic analysis in with the story, plot, character, and setting, okay? Don't just tell your story or explore your epiphanies. That's just autobiographical writing. That's just confessional writing. This is autoethnography, which you will understand more as you go through this week, okay? So you will be weaving, you'll be writing stories, I can't talk, it's so early, weaving scholarly sources and analysis throughout. So here's some things to consider. Now, these are not something that you must do, but these are just some things to maybe get you thinking about what you might want to do, okay? In the week 5 screencasts, I talk about epiphanies and how important they are in the creation of autoethnography. And so consider writing about epiphanies. You're going to be doing an epiphany journal where you're sort of writing out some of the epiphanies that you've had. Use these journals, use these discussion posts that you've been thinking about to springboard you into the writing of your final paper. Okay, and I've just included some of the information here from week 5 to kind of spur you and go, oh yeah, that's right, I could write about this. Okay, so these 3 dots right here are all from the week 5 screencasts. Okay, so you could write an next. You could write an autoethnography exploring your journey over the course of this class. Talk about your intrapersonal communication at the beginning and kind of how it's grown and how it's changed over our 10 weeks together. You could explore your intrapersonal communication around one particularly impactful life experience or epiphany. Some of us well, we all have some of these, but some of them are, to some of us, they're more salient than others. We all have these points in our life where maybe our life was going this way. We hit that point and it just changed direction and then went this way. Not necessarily for the worst. Sometimes maybe it was. Sometimes it's for the better. You might want to focus on that thing that pointed you in this direction and sent you in a different way. And that works well. Or you could have more than one of those. Some of us will see a lot of these big milestones, and our life was going this way, then it went this way, and then it went back this way. And you could do more than one. If you would like to do that, we'll talk about episodic narrative over the course of the next few weeks. That would work really well. You could integrate imagined interactions into your writing. That's from week 4. So you could write a script around that. You could include that in the midst of one of your epiphanies. That works really well as something you could use. You could examine the impacts that reading Mindset and engaging in our course had on your self-talk. You could just really engage the course and write about what it was like dealing with all of this information, okay? You could look back over your journal entries and discussion board posts for inspiration, direction, and possibly something specific. I've done a lot of this on purpose. I've tried to make it so that the things that we do in the journals and the things we do in the discussions can be used to your advantage later. Now, I want to make sure that you see this here. You must do, why is this? Oh, that'll work. You must do more than just copy and paste your journal entries together. You can use them to guide your writing. You can use them as the spinal cord, but you have to create a new product for the assignment, okay? It's got to be well written, evocative, and scholarly. And so now there might be some cutting and pasting of your journal entries together, but you're going to have to smooth them over into one more cohesive product, okay? Don't be afraid to take your journals and sort of see how they can be puzzle pieced together, but don't just assume that you can just take a journal, paste it, journal, paste it, and that's going to work, okay? I engage your journals very seriously. I engage them genuinely. I've read them. I will recognize when you've just copied and pasted a journal in there, and I can go back and check if I need to. So please take the time to write this. It'll be really good for your intrapersonal communication in the long run, okay? So as we come to the end of our assignment here, and I can't believe this has taken me over 10 minutes, but it's going to, it looks like. I want to encourage you that as you're getting started here, you might not know what you're going to write about. You might not have an idea of what the final project is going to be right away. that is okay. In fact, that's totally normal. For a lot of us, for some reason we get the idea that we have to know what we're going to write about before we write, and that's not really how it works. For a lot of us, you're going to figure out what you want to write about by writing. So go get your favorite cup of coffee and your laptop or your tablet or your journal or whatever the heck it is you're going to do, and start writing something. And then all of a sudden you're going to stumble on something, and that's going to be something you use. You might write 200 or 300 words before you get to that idea where you go, oh, well, that's just all stuff that was used to get me there. That was my nephew Kyler in the background, by the way. Kyler is an awesome guy. He's here at my parents' house hanging out with us. So he's going to sit here next to me as I finish this screencast. So think through that and say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to start. So start writing. To help you start, I want you to understand that there's going to be a peer review discussion, okay? Starting in week 8. So waiting till the last minute is going to cost you points. if you're like, I'll start writing this thing the night before it's due, it's going to cost you some points, okay? Not of these 300, okay? The final product itself is worth 300 points, but starting in week 8, I will post a discussion board, and I will break you up into groups of about 2 or 3 people, where you will only be able to post with 2 or 3 people alongside your week 8 discussion. This does not take the place of the week 8 discussion. I'll clarify this when we get there even more, but you'll post rough drafts of your final paper for your peers to comment on, okay? And that's worth an additional 50 points, and I'll outline that more as we get there. So the final paper is graded on, is it well written? Is it evocative? Did you proofread it? Are there grammar issues throughout? Is the writing in clear conversation with the course material? Folks, I'm looking for the 5 sources. 2 of them need to be outside. You've got to reference the things we've been talking about in class. You've got to use these concepts in the midst of your story that you're telling, okay? And I said, are the minimum number of sources cited? Does the paper present all the elements of autoethnography? It's got to be more than biography or personal or confessional writing. It's got to be scholarly with that, okay? And then, do you display mastery of the material? So you need to show me that you understand self-talk. You need to show me that you understand whatever you're using. If you're using self-talk or imagined interactions or self, identity, personality, if you're talking about communication and how it impacts our reality, show me that you understand that. So over the course of the next few weeks, this will become more clear. I just wanted to lay out the final paper for you in detail so that you can see what the final goal is of all of this work that we're doing in here. Okay, so if you have any questions, please send me a message via D2L, and I will make sure to answer that as quickly as possible. I really look forward to seeing your final papers. We are nearing the 4th of July, so I will say, if you watch this before 4th of July, this will be early. If you watch it around or after the 4th of July, happy 4th of July. See you in the boards.